Hey, what's up, Steven?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I
How you
wanted,
doing this evening?
I'm alright, but I just talked to Aaron at Rockview. This dude hung himself last night. In his cell, he woke up in the middle of the night, found him hanging, and they think he saved him, but as you know, they took him out on the gurney. People could tell he went to the bathroom on himself,
Right.
and it was over e-cigarettes,
He
man.
hung himself because he couldn't smoke. Like, what's going? Well, we won't be able to find out if he passed, right?
Well, yeah, I'll eventually find out, but as of right
Right.
now, we don't know. But because of the cost, because he's a lot of people are choosing to spend the money on e-cigarettes to give it. And I was explaining how this guy gave up his food, his hygiene. He became really depressed, and he wasn't sure if he had mental health to begin with, or if it just stemmed from the addiction to the nicotine. He said he didn't think he was an addict or addicted when he first got to the jail, but over time he just became addicted, and like heroin, he just let himself go to the point where this happened.
I think we talked before about the nicotine, and listen, I can buy a pack of what's those little things, Zen cans,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't even have to go to the store for commissary because I can take that Zen can, right, and get a bunch of extra trays. I can get soups. I can get pretty much whatever I want. These dudes, I got the one guy on my block. I don't even like walking past the cell. I'm in 38 cell. He's in 34. Every time I walk past, he's trying to sell me something for a pouch. Everything he sells is he tried to sell me a spring jacket. I get his pancakes on Saturday. I get his French toast sticks. I get his eggs. It's to the point where I'm like, man, I feel like I'm taking advantage because he's thin as a rail. Like he's about 5'9" maybe, and maybe 130 pounds. I don't know what he looked like before he came in, but he don't eat nothing. He just got a job in the kitchen, and that's probably what's going to feed him. But whenever he gets to the cell, everything he has is gone. Extension cord, everything. Stinger buckets, whatever he can sell, he will sell. His cell is empty.
How many other people do you think are like that or close to that?
A
Or
lot. A lot of people like when I go to, like I said, when I go to breakfast, it's like, hey, you want to buy this? You want to buy this? You want to buy this? And the meals that they're left with to eat to survive is oatmeal because they can't sell that. Nobody wants to buy
yeah,
state prison oatmeal.
yeah.
Nobody wants to buy, mashed potatoes. That's the stuff that they would take off other trays. When you discard a tray, you put it down. They will scoop all that stuff. So you have a mountain full of mashed potatoes on this one tray, or a mountain full of oatmeal, because nobody eats it. But that's what they have to eat because they sell everything.
Everything. My celly Dustin used to do that for recharges, and he would load up. He'd have a bowl, and he'd fill up, or bag. He'd fill up with like the sides of a trays that nobody wanted, the corn, the potatoes, and he'd sell his chicken patty. I mean, for a recharge. If you, in case you don't know what a recharge is, it's like the e-cigarettes or vapes that we buy out here. We just plug in. In prison, it's the size of a pen, and there is no way to recharge it. When it dies, it dies. But we find a way, and what they do is they literally just take them wires, take it apart, and connect the wires to the socket, and that is worth your food for the day.
Yeah, yeah. As of now, I get four baked chickens besides mine. I give one guy two soups, and I get the other three people a pouch. So I have three pouches and two soups gets me four baked chickens, which my celly does magic with it. He fries it. Don't ask me how. He takes the egg and crushes cornflakes and whips the egg batter and dips it in there and puts it in a stinger. In about 2 hours, I got fried chicken. But it's good. but
Cornflakes?
but huh?
Are is it the same like the ingredients as what they would use as breading?
Well, he takes the skin off, of course, and he takes the egg and whips the egg and puts some type of whatever type of seasoning he puts in the egg. He crushes cornflakes, and once he puts the egg on there, sometimes he uses a thin layer of peanut butter to put on the chicken. It sounds crazy, but it's so good
Yeah.
to make the egg stick, and then he dips the chicken into the cornflakes,
Wow.
and in about crushed cornflakes in about 2 hours, it tastes so good. It's fried chicken. That's the only way we can get it because we can't order
I don't know if I'll try that though. I never
it.
in there. I didn't remember anybody making that. That's unique.
Yeah. So the nicotine thing is definitely people's livelihood, and that's what they look forward to. It's like I seen somebody smoke crack one time, right? And then I've seen somebody take a blast or a hit off an e-cigarette once they haven't had one all day. It's like they pull on it so long, and then they let out they just exhale. It's like a relief. I don't know what's in them. I don't know what's in them. I
I
mean,
can tell
of
you
course,
what's in them.
nicotine. I know it's nicotine, but it's like
But it's the
I've never
equivalent
smoked.
of it's a equivalent of 1.5 packs of cigarettes worth of nicotine in that little e-cigarette. But the problem with why it's so addicting is because those puffs. I mean, you see, they only last a few hours, maybe a day.
Right.
So each puff is almost like smoking a half of a cigarette,
Each puff.
or yeah, or like a quarter of a cigarette. I mean, because it. Imagine you only puff it for so many times and it's dead. It's gone.
Yeah, it starts blinking.
I don't know.
But it's still fluid left once the battery dies. Does it blink because the battery dies? Like, tell
No,
me, I don't smoke.
listen. It's the fluid is gone. What people smoke on those like the recharges. My seller used to add water to it, and then he would spin it. He'd put it in a sock and
I've seen that.
yeah, and spin it so it would like push all whatever residual flavor in those little fibers down to the coil, and then smoke it. There isn't much in there left. It's mostly you're smoking the cotton.
Right. That's different. um, Speaking of habits, they have the MAP program, right? So they give you what's equivalent to 2 strips, I believe, 16 milligrams in the morning, and they crush them up. So you see this people. I always wonder why they run up there, try to run because they don't want to get caught in the line because they crush the pill and then they have you wait up there for maybe 10 minutes to make sure you're not smuggling it back. And I said, well, if you crush a pill and give it to somebody to drink down with some water, how can they smuggle it back? Why do you have to sit up there? But they say people have found a way to get this back now. That's extreme because that has to go in your mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get that back up to get it back to the block to sell it, but they're saying it's being done. I can't imagine how.
I have a few examples. When it first came about, there was a guy. He used to put like some sort of like foil, like clear, like saran wrap. He'd put it. He'd line the inside of his mouth. And I mean, I didn't witness it, but that's what he would do because he would try to buy that stuff and he explained it. And he was making like $400 off of a pill. And there was
Hell
another
no.
guy who would spit it into his pocket. Now, and just so, because you probably don't know this, but those pills you can't swallow them. If you swallow
They
them,
crush them.
they have to dissolve in your mouth. It wouldn't work if you swallow them. It has
Okay.
naloxone and buprenorphine. If you swallow them, the naloxone will counteract the buprenorphine. But if you just let it dissolve under your tongue, then the naloxone will go down your throat, and the buprenorphine will be absorbed. Yeah, the doctor just told me this the last week.
Well, wouldn't it be better if they just give them the actual strip because it dissolves once it hits your tongue?
Well, it still takes a few minutes, but once it hits your tongue, there's no way to pull it back off.
That's what I'm
That's
saying. So there's no way you can resell it or try to
yeah.
whatever they do unless they line their mouth with saran wrap, and then that's just too much. I can't imagine. Like I said, I've
He
never
was
been addicted to
four
anything,
hundred
but
dollars
that's too much.
a day. He was
I
making four
guess
hundred dollars a day.
I'm
I
just glad I'm
remember
not
there
addicted
were
to anything.
people. There were people when they first started because it was limited who was getting it. There were people who were saying, "I'm gonna go out get prescribed it and come back." because that dude there, he went home with over 60 grand in less than a year.
Now,
Oh
do
no,
they?
20
How do
grand.
they?
20.
How do they administer? Because my buddy, he thinks that they're not giving it some because he has life. He's thinking that, all right, I got life. I'm cast to the side. I'm not going back out. So they don't care if he has a problem. He thinks it's based on, like, I don't know anybody else that that I can think of that has life that uses it, so I can ask them. But do you know how that's administered from being here before, or it wasn't that way when you were incarcerated, right? They didn't have it, right?
The MAT, I was the one who sued them and got them to start offering it to everybody.
But
That's
I'm
my
saying it
fault.
wasn't. They didn't have it up and running when you was incarcerated.
No, I was. They had it. They were only allowing the people who were prescribed it from the streets to bring it in. That's why I sued, saying, uh, according to the law, we're all similarly situated. I'm an addict too, just like he is. Why can't I get on treatment? But
Right.
there are a lot of people who used it. It wasn't my goal. So that's why I was saying there's a few people who were here who were saying I'm gonna go out, get on it and come back and make money. But actually I just did a whole conversation with Pat. He has life and they're denying him it because he has life.
Pat. Ballhead dude.
Pat McCamey.
Oh yeah, yeah, Pat.
He's doing
Yeah.
good
So
now
is
though.
that you?
That's,
Huh?
he's doing good now though. That's for prime example. It's that place there specifically, like with the addiction, it didn't work out for him. But where he's at now, he's actually doing better. Like the mental health uh, program there is better. They're offering him better treatment.
Okay, that's good. Glad to hear that. He was a
Sometimes
little
that's what you need,
need a change of environment sometime, huh?
or well, treatment.
Yeah, or
The
treatment.
the
Yeah.
doctors there. I mean, look, Najee. I can't tell you he's killed more people than any one person in there. And he's the doctor. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a serial killer.
Okay.
That's your guys' physician, and you can look it up. There was a
Yeah.
guy right before I left. He had his leg amputated, and I remember him saying. Now I don't know. I didn't see his paperwork, but he was saying that they could have been saved. But this doctor, he said he didn't have a problem, and he didn't treat it, and then he had to amputate it.
Yes, that's unfortunate. Real unfortunate. Yeah.
Weren't you just saying something about somebody there?
Yeah, I can't remember the guy, but he was walking with a boot, and he said they took his toe off, some type of bone infection. They thought it was a ingrown toenail. Turned out it wasn't, and it started to spread to his other foot. So I guess he went up there one day, and it was like all types of different colors, like the rainbow, and they said you got to go out now. But I think it already spread, so they couldn't save that. So I think it was spreading to the other. So I thought they took it because he's a diabetic. Because I always see him
Yeah.
with insulin, but that wasn't the case. Now I don't know if I don't know. Yeah, I don't know I think he told me it was his He said it didn't have nothing to do with his diabetes. He said it was a bone infection. I can't remember the exact term, but he said a term, but it was some type of bone infection.
Did he say that
Which
it
is
could have
which
been
is
saved if it had gotten treated sooner?
I'm pretty sure it could have. Pretty sure it could have, but like if they didn't catch it fast enough or didn't send them out to properly diagnose it. I'm glad you said that because I was talking to my coworker in the law library about the Farmer versus Brenner, and he was saying that you can sue for malpractice, but if it's a misdiagnosis, that's not deliberate indifference because that's what they actually thought was wrong with you. Is that true? I didn't read Farmer versus Brenner.
It's Brennan. Yeah, that's
Brennan, I'm sorry.
that's
Is that true
yeah,
what he's saying?
if you read that and all the subsequent cases, yeah, it's the rights you have for like medical treatment are
Hmm?
deplorable. As long as they can say, we didn't know, or
Right.
we did everything we could.
Right. Your word against theirs, and they're the professionals supposedly, so I guess they go with them. Yeah, but I think that's the standard, right, for deliberate indifference, that case?
Yeah. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
U.S. Supreme
I,
Court.
I'll read it one day. I got a mountain of cases to look at and read. I took your advice and read. Well, I tried to read the whole book, but it gave me a headache. The Guilty Until Proven Innocent. Now I read an old one from 2016, so I'm pretty sure some things that them cases that they were citing are old. So I'm gonna try to get the new one. But that PCRA, man, that thing that you hate so much and I hate so much is a Rubik's cube. It'll tell you one. See, I told you before, I don't like case law. I would rather cite a rule of criminal procedure or a statute because the case law, which is handed down by these judges,
Yeah.
they change every second. Like they'll say something in this one, and then the next one is different. It's like make up your mind. It never stick to a standard. It's just whatever they feel at the time. Where they're actually legislating from the bench, they're changing the law right then and there from the bench.
And
I,
they use those to trump statutes and constitutional rights. And a good
Right.
example is the Second Amendment.
Now you told me that the PCRA, which you said it subsumes everything. Now this is the question I have. They say when you file a state habe, right? They will make it into a PCR. Who is this they? Is this the criminal division? Because if you send it, right, listen, if a guy files a state habe, a guy just did it, and he's on A block, I forget his name. Anyway, he just did it, right? He said the prothonotary of Clearfield County, because it's a state habe, he's challenging his confinement, which means he's suing the warden here, right? So it's a civil matter. He said that the prothonotary of the Clearfield County took his habeas corpus, which is a civil division, and sent it to the criminal division. Now, if it's a civil matter, it's supposed to be filed where you're at because it's against the warden who has possession of your body. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's the definition of habeas corpus.
So
Where's the body? Or produce the body. That's
Right.
what it means in Latin.
So if I'm telling him to produce something, and I think this guy's argument is something about the criminal complaint or the affidavit or something, which I started fishing and I looked it up, and I think it's in one of them titles that it says that the warden has to have a copy of your criminal complaint and your affidavit of probable cause. So if you come up, and so in this guy's defense, if he's come up without it, and the warden has possession of him, the warden has him unlawfully restrained. Am I correct?
Yeah. Well.
So what
I mean, I have
avenue?
to look that
What
up,
you
but
have? But listen, that argument is not cognizable under the PCRA. So how do they take that civil matter and put it into the PCRA court when it's not nothing on that PCRA packet starting at 9542 all the way up to whatever says anything about subject matter jurisdiction? Correct? Am I correct?
Subject matter jurisdiction. Honestly,
Well, that's what he would have to argue because and there's two cases that they cite, Judge and I think West, which tells you what falls under the PCRA. I think that says what falls under the PCRA or what's cognizable, and that you're limited range in filing a state habeas corpus. Very, very limited. And that's the only thing I could think of is what this guy's arguing. But he said they took it and sent it to the whatever county he got locked up in.
Well, I mean, and it's all about interpretation. So this judge or clerk, even sometimes, they they can say he's mentioning his sentence or his because he's in prison, he's challenging his incarceration, his sentence, which that is cognizable under the PCRA. But if you're challenging certain aspects that are not in there, it's interpretation.
So I don't think he challenged his sentence unless I missed that part, but he said he was challenging no affidavit and no complaint, which is not really a sentence because and I think he said something about his information. So he said it wasn't filed or something. So if his information wasn't filed, then anything past the non-filing is void, right? So therefore there was no trial, and the PCRA court doesn't have jurisdiction because technically it didn't happen. Am I like making sense?
It does. But if they wanted to, they could interpret it as a prison sentence because that's where you are. You're in a prison, So obviously somebody sentenced you, so you're
Right.
challenging a sentence. It's just the way they're interpreting it. It can very well be incorrect. Look at all those judges that they reproach. There was a guy who was just let out of prison last week from the Innocence Project after 25 years. And the judge who and the district attorney who violated these guys' rights, because I think there's three of them. They're never gonna be penalized for that. That's it. Those judges are gonna continue to make those same mistakes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You remember the guy who did commissary
Which one?
from Les?
Yeah.
He's home.
I think.
Yeah, he had life sentence, and I think he
Yeah.
copped out to. I think he had 26 in, and he
Yeah,
said,
I
you
heard
know,
about him.
something about DNA. That he didn't feel
Yeah.
like going through the whole trial process, which is, I mean, you
Uh,
better not gamble.
he said he did an Alfred plea.
Yeah, Alfred. That's exactly what he did. Yep.
That's
And can he still challenge on the street if he takes Alfred
that's
plea,
why
or is he done like?
that's why they had him take
Oh,
it. They said you can go home now.
right.
That's what I'm talking about too. They said you can go home now if you sign this, and this sort of
Okay.
absolves them of any culpability, because he's
Okay.
he's
So
basically saying, all right, I could be guilty, but we're not even going to
Right.
raise the issue anymore. We're just going to
Right.
drop it. So he can't sue, and a lot of people take
Yeah.
that deal. I mean,
Yeah, I would take
wouldn't
it.
you? That's
Yeah.
sad,
You
though.
say I can go
shouldn't
home right
have
now,
to.
but you want to go home. You don't think
Right.
about the saving my namesake. Listen, after so many years, you just want to get the hell out of here and be done with it. And if you have to cop a plea or bow to these people to relieve yourself from prison, then that's what you're going to do. You're going to have to, or else you're going to sit in here and rot. I heard guys say, "Oh, I want to fight. I got to sue and get the money." Sue, you might die in here. So why would you, sue? And it's crazy because when we get locked up, right? And I've heard the story plenty of times of what the lady says to you when you get down to Grateford. In my situation, you'll be at Grateford. She says, "Where do you want your body sent?" That thing that rings in your head like, what do you mean? Like, okay, besides the fact that a person has life, if you don't have a life sentence, you still can die there. And you like, where do you want your body sent? That messes with your head. So until I actually heard it myself, I said, "Oh, what's the big deal?" But once she asked me that, like, where do you want your body sent? I just sat there for a second, like, well, damn. Whether you have life or you don't have, everybody has life who comes to these doors because you're not promised tomorrow. You know what I mean? You can have a 2 to 4. In essence, you can be doing life sentence because you can die here. No matter if it's from malpractice or misdiagnosis or you committing suicide or overdose or something, or somebody doing something to you. This is essentially a life prison if you come to prison, no matter what your actual sentence is. But yeah, I got off subject. My
No,
bad.
all right.
The
That
Hague
is
thing. Yeah, that Hague thing is very frustrating. That
interpretation. That's what needs to change. The interpretation. It shouldn't be allowed.
well, people who are out there have to take that type of stuff to the General Assembly. They're the lawmakers, right? Take it to the state legislature. Hey, listen, this thing is not constitutional. It says in there it can't be suspended unless it's a time of invasion or something, but you're suspending it. Like how? Even with the federal Hague, it's the same thing. You put that 1 year time limitation. Like it's. When I read that, I was frustrated, man. I was like, man, these freaking people, man. These people in power are something else.
That's the ultimate question. That's the topic. How can we change this? I read a lot of these different articles. So Ohio, they have a thing where they're trying to dissolve qualified immunity. That's where the judges are held accountable. That's their cloak, so you can't sue them. Why would a judge rule, in favor of that? They're not going to, take that away from themselves. How could we change it? We can't just go to the General Assembly. When I first got out, I went on that change.org and I created a petition, but I mean, how many signatures do I need?
It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of people and somebody significant to take it to them. Like you know, ex-con and blah blah blah, they're not going to want to pay attention to you. Sadly to say, but it takes somebody influential with some maybe a little bit of money to say, hey, what the hell is going on? Maybe even a lawyer or people in that the field, in the law field, to take it to these people and say, hey, we take an oath to honor and obey the Constitution. You do as well. We're calling you out on honoring this. Is it going to happen? Hell no, but I'm being optimistic. But
You know
at
what would
some
happen?
point,
What would
no,
happen
tell me.
is whoever they would, because whoever's going, this influential person, they're going to them. They got in it for some reason. Let's say it's their kid. So they're going to go to whoever, the governor. The governor's going to say, well, how do I just get your kid out and you just... That's
Yeah,
what's
shut
gonna
the hell
happen.
up.
It,
You hush up, and then we ain't got to worry about this no more. It's going to have somebody with drive, somebody who I guess doesn't have nothing to gain out of it, just wants the law to be interpreted as the law.
it's going to take a lot of people, man. It has to be numbers because, I mean, the judicial system is out of control. A
Yeah.
good example, and I can't remember the name. I remember it started with a P. It was in New York. This inmate sued the jail because this officer molested him. The judge said denied him and said there's no pattern. According to the United States, and I think it was versus Brown, it says that there has to be a pattern of sexual assault from an officer to an inmate. And another person sued him too then, and same thing. And then now the judge even cited their last case, said we just ruled on the same thing, and it was the same officer too. Then two people filed a class action for the same officer. The same officer molested, sexually assaulted all four of these people. And the judges said, then they thought, well, here's the pattern for you, him and me.
Hmm.
And they said, no, the Supreme Court case says it has to be a physical, or it has to be a pattern on an individual. So that's basically saying this guard has the right to rape every single one of you just one time. And they appealed it because you know how much it costs to appeal. That's why people don't appeal. They appealed it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court had to issue a ruling saying, basically, what the hell are you guys doing? That's not what we said. You're misinterpreting it. It says it has to show a pattern if it's verbal abuse. There has to be a pattern of verbal abuse on an individual. So basically saying if you say a guard yelled at you, nice butt, that's not enough to sue them over sexual harassment. It has to have happened again. But if it's physical, one time is enough.
I mean, I would think it should be. How did they interpret anything else besides that?
And
These people are
guess
crazy.
what? Those judges are still on the bench.
Yeah,
I'm gonna post that case right here. Right there.
Oh.
There it is.
I don't see
That
nothing.
case is still like I cringe when I think of it. And I looked it up when I got out to see what happened to that guard. I couldn't find anything. It wouldn't surprise me if he's the warden.
Hmm.
But that's the
That-
interpretation, man. It's however the judge wants to interpret it. Your freedom, your rights depends on what judge you get.
That's crazy. They just can't stick to the black letter of the law and then read it as is written. This whole interpretation thing, that the courts, that whole separation of power thing, they have the most power out of the three, out of the Congress, out of the executive, judicial, and the legislative branch. Like, they have the most power. They can, whatever they say goes. They can say, hey, that thing's unconstitutional, strike it down. If this is unconstitutional, strike it down. What you're doing is unconstitutional, strike it down.
So look
Like,
at what's
and
going
put
on
a
right now
whole-
with the president.
They are, and it said, that the Constitution was written to be against tyranny and no more kings. And to me, if you ask me, the Supreme Court is like a king. Like, they rule. Like, they are absolute. What they say goes.
The King's Bench.
Yeah.
You
It's
work in the
unbelievable.
law library. How many people would you say have actual decent claims of constitutional violations in their
A
trial.
lot. But they get caught up in that Rubik's Cube of a PCRA because, the lawyers don't do nothing on direct. Remember, he was your trial lawyer. So if you're appealing, that was that same, you got him on direct appeal.
Yeah.
And then 9 times out of 10, he's done something wrong, but he can't, according to whatever that case is, I think is Grant, you got to wait until you get to the PCRA stage, which some lawyers or some judges, I recently read, well, for one, that goofball Clarence Thomas, but he says you have no right to a lawyer on a PCRA. I think that's what that Shin case was about. It's a state judge said it too, I forget his name.
You don't have
Shin
a
versus
right
Ramirez.
to a PCRA lawyer?
He was basically saying that on your PCRA, you shouldn't have a right to an attorney, unless I read it wrong.
Oh, I'd have to look that up because
Shin
Rule
versus
904.
Ramirez.
904 says you're entitled to an attorney on your
Yeah,
first PCRA.
I mean,
Honestly,
but when they went it upstairs, I guess they didn't. I don't know what state it was. Like I said, Shin versus Ramirez and Clarence Thomas was saying, hey, they should. I don't know if it was in a dissent, but hey, you shouldn't be guaranteed.
The whole lawyer thing, the PCRA lawyer, that's a scam. They assign
Well, the PCRA is a scam.
Exactly, it's all together. They assign you a.
He don't even have to be a criminal attorney. He can be a something else. He can be a realtor attorney or something. As long as they give you an attorney, it don't matter. Listen, we got about a minute, if that.